Hello everybody, welcome back to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We just got done previewing the U.S. Gymnastics Olympic Trials, and now we're going to be talking about the PWHL off-season moves, starting with something that is a bit more specific, the PWHL's approach to player contracts during the off-season, because there has been a change here. Okay. So let's just dive right in. So the offseason has seen a significant shift in the PWHL's approach to player contracts, with an increasing number of deals being guaranteed. This change addresses a major point of critique from both the PWHL and the PWHL's Players Association, or the PWHL-PA, which previously highlighted the lack of contract protection under the former at-will agreement that allowed teams to release players at any time for any reason. During the exclusive signing window leading up to June 21st, all contracts signed were guaranteed. This pattern continued with a multi-year contract signed before the second season, marking a substantial move toward more secure employment for players. So here are some notable guaranteed contracts made this season. Montreal made significant moves by signing Lina Ljungblom and Cayla Barnes to 3-year contracts. They also secured Mayala Kopel, Elaine Chuli, and Amanda Bollier with 1-year and 2-year guaranteed deals, respectively. Additionally, Boston inserted stability by signing Hannah Brandt, Sophie Shirley, and Emily Brown to 2-year guaranteed contracts, while Sydney Morin received a 1-year guaranteed deal. Likewise, New York retained Corrine Schroeder on a 2-year guaranteed contract. Furthermore, Ottawa welcomed Natalie Snodgrass and Zoe Boyd on 1-year guaranteed contracts. Katarina Marzova also secured a guaranteed deal by signing on June 20th. Moreover, Toronto committed to Dara Watts and Emma Woods with 2-year guaranteed contracts. And then lastly, Minnesota strengthened the roster by signing draft picks Britta Curl and Clara Hemlerova to guaranteed contracts. The current collective bargaining agreement does not explicitly lay out the rules for guaranteed contracts, allowing the document to evolve. According to PWHL policy, there are basically 3 fundamental rules. 1, all multi-year agreements signed before Season 2 are guaranteed. 2, 1-year deals inked during the exclusive window are guaranteed. And 3, 1-year agreements signed after June 20th are not guaranteed and can be terminated based on performance. With these changes, more players across the league are enjoying the security of guaranteed contracts. Presently, New York and Ottawa each have 12 players under guaranteed contracts. Minnesota follows closely with 13, while Toronto and Montreal have 14 each, and Boston leads with 15. As teams continue to secure their top draft picks, the number of guaranteed contracts is expected to increase, enhancing stability and predictability for players and teams alike. This shift not only secures the livelihoods of the players, but also signals the maturing of the league's approach to player relations and team dynamics. The PWHL's move to hook players up with more guaranteed contracts is a huge game changer in how the league shows its appreciation and support for its athletes. Is a big win for the players, giving them way more stability and security than the old at-will contracts that could see them dropped at a drop of a hat. It's pretty clear the league is paying more attention to what the players and their association have been pushing for: better job protection and security. Strategically, it's a smart move too. By locking in key players with guaranteed deals, teams can plan for the future, build their squads with long-term vision, and create a solid team vibe. This stability is likely to boost how well teams perform because, let's face it, players who feel secure and valued usually play better and are more committed to their team's success. For a league that's still kind of finding its feet, setting up these forward-thinking labor practices lays down some strong roots for growth. It shows that the PWHL really cares about its athletes and is serious about their well-being, which isn't just good for keeping talent around, but also draws new talent in. That said, the collective bargaining agreement is still a work in progress. While it's great and it's flexible and can evolve, it needs clear communication and precise terms to avoid any mix-ups and make sure everything's fair. The League and Players Association needs to keep a tight partnership to tweak these policies, making sure they're good for everyone involved, though. All in all, the PWHL's shift toward guaranteed contracts is a huge step forward. It's not only about making the league look good, but also about making women's hockey a more professional and competitive sport. With these changes setting in, we're looking at a more stable, competitive, and fair environment for everyone hitting the ice. Now let's talk about the recent offseason moves in the PWHL. This past season proved that parity is real in the PWHL, as even teams that missed the playoffs put up fierce fights in the semis. Toronto and Minnesota stretched to a full 5 games, while Boston and Montreal battled through multiple overtimes in all their games. But post-draft and free agency, we're seeing some potentially game-changing moves. The finals featured the number 3 and number 4 ranked teams, highlighting just how critical momentum and confidence are. Boston, initially seen as a top contender, struggled but found their stride just in time, storming into the finals with newfound vigor. With the draft influenced by regular season standings, Boston and Minnesota capitalized on early picks, scooping up talents like Hannah Bilka and Claire Thompson. Montreal, picking later, still managed to win with Cayla Barnes, who many argue might have more potential than Thompson. Montreal wasn't just sitting pretty, they were strategic, snagging promising talents like Abby Boring and Amanda Kessel, who could be game changers or valuable trade assets. We'll talk about them some more later. They also locked in Lina Ljungblom from last year's draft, showing they're serious about boosting their squad. Toronto, after topping the regular season, made the 6th pick, drafting Julia Gosling. They've enforced their lineup, notably adding Megan Carter, a solid defensive playmaker. When free agency hit, teams first re-signed their players with no major surprises until Toronto made headlines by snatching Emma Woods from New York and landing the top free agent Dara Watts from Ottawa. This flurry of activity has everyone already guessing next season's lineups and spotting potential weaknesses. Ottawa and Minnesota seem a bit shaky, Ottawa losing key players and Minnesota dealing with internal changes and retirement, sparking rumors of locker room issues. On the flip side, New York looks promising with new coach Greg Fargo and first overall pick Sarah Fillier poised to turbo change their scoring. They've also kept solid players like Corrine Schroeder and Abby Levy, positioning them as possible underdogs this coming season. As teams like Toronto, Montreal, and Boston appear to be bulking up for the strong run, Ottawa and Minnesota might be slipping unless they make some smart moves soon. With the league's dynamics quickly changing, this upcoming season could see some teams solidifying their dominance while others scramble to keep up. It's all about moving forward. If you're not, you're likely falling behind. As we edge closer to the new season, it'll be fascinating to see how these off-season moves play out on the ice. So the last thing I wanted to talk about this segment was trading during the offseason and answer the question, should PWHL Montreal trade Abby Boring or Amanda Kessel? Okay, so let me just pull up their pictures. Okay, so before the first year players could opt out of the PWHL draft to become reserves, a choice offered to a select few, including Abby Boring, due to special circumstances like her commitment to a doctor of pharmacy program at the University of Minnesota. Boring managed to balance her demanding academic schedule with professional hockey thanks to a supportive academic environment. However, her situation grew complicated when Montreal drafted her. The team has been exploring options for Boring to continue her studies in Montreal, possibly at McGill, but it's been challenging. The difficulties in coordinating her academic transfers are fueling trade rumors, as only Minnesota provides the geographical and academic setting she requires. Despite this, Montreal is unlikely to let her go cheaply if a trade with Minnesota is pursued. They would likely demand a significant return, possibly eyeing players like Michaela Kava, Liz Sheppers, or Denisa Krasova, whom they've had shown interest in the past. Amanda Kessel's situation is equally precarious. Known for her scoring prowess, Kessel has expressed a desire to play only in Boston, even hinting at a salary expectation to deter other teams. However, Montreal surprised many by drafting her with their final pick. Montreal's general manager, Danielle Suavaju, expressed post-draft that drafted players should be prepared to play in any market, a stance that complicates Kessel's position. Boston would likely be interested in acquiring Kessel and can afford her, but the trade's complexity is heightened by familial ties. Kessel's sister-in-law, Courtney Kessel, is Boston's head coach. Negotiating a trade for Kessel won't be straightforward. Montreal knows her value exceeds that of typical late-round picks and will expect a substantial return, potentially targeting a player like Lorgan Gable for her offensive skills, or maybe even Taylor Gerard or Teresa Schatzel, though the latter trades would require additional assets from Boston. Both scenarios highlight Montreal's complex position of managing player expectations and team needs. How they navigate these trades could set precedents for handling similar situations in the future, underscoring the delicate balance between player desires and team strategies in professional sports. My opinion is that Montreal's approach to handling Abby Boring's unique situation could set a significant precedent in the league for how teams manage players with dual career paths, particularly those involving intensive academic commitments. The difficulty in transferring her academic credits to a suitable program in Montreal demonstrates a genuine effort on the team's part, yet it also showcases the complexities involved when a player's personal development goals are at odds with their professional opportunities. If a satisfactory solution can't be found, trading Boring to Minnesota, where she can continue her studies and play, would be the most humane and practical solution. It respects the player's career and educational aspirations while potentially bringing back valuable assets to Montreal, maintaining a good precedent for future scenarios while player welfare and team strategy must be balanced. In Amanda Kessel's case, the situation is more about the balance of player preference and team needs. Kessel's explicit desire to play in Boston, coupled with familial connections within the team, presents a complex challenge. Montreal's decision to draft her despite these preferences may seem bold and could be viewed as asserting the team's authority over player inclinations. However, this could potentially backfire, affecting Kessel's morale and her performance on the ice. A trade to Boston, if it could bring a suitable return, might be the best outcome for all parties involved. It would allow Kessel to play where she feels most at home and motivated, while Montreal could gain assets that align more closely with their strategic goals and team dynamics. So we're now going to move on to our next segment where we talk about the OU softball key transfer portal additions. Before we get into that, we're going to be taking a very short break, so I will see you guys very soon.